Welcome to another episode. In this presentation, we look at on the project management topic. That is, which project management model to choose? Or rather, the question can be framed this way also. Does Agile methodology fit for all projects? The Agile craze is so very high. I find they try to fit in with all projects with Agile methodology. Is it a right approach? That is what we are going to see in this presentation. So if you look at it, the traditional model of any software development, even the construction industry as such, has a kind of a waterfall model. Say for example, even construction of a building, you have a basement, and then from the basement everything is built up. And similarly in software development as well, the same process is followed. That is just like a waterfall model. It goes through, that is system engineering, analysis, design, coding, testing and maintenance. So waterfall model is very common. It was there for decades together. So in fact, this is a traditional best fit model, particularly if you are having a vendor customer relationship. Vendor customer in the sense you provide a kind of a quote which gets approved, and you have clarity on the scope from the customer end as well as the budget. So kind of a vendor customer is again the two different legal entities. Vendor is a legal entity and customer is again a legal entity. So two different legal entities. Then waterfall model is a perfect one, and there is a clear requirement scope. Again, if you compare software development as well as performing some kind of a construction of a building construction, the scope is absolutely clear what you need to do based on the budget available. So it is very clear, whereas software development can always be dicey as you develop the project. So the traditional model, waterfall model, is a better one, and PMP certifications are the a better one. When if you are a project manager and wants to get into the certification, PMP certification is the better one. So that means if you're into the consulting organization, either it is IBM, TCS, Oracle Consulting, or Wipro, Infosys, anything, you are in the consulting side and you are executing the project on behalf of, you have your own team, outsourced team, and for the customer you are going to perform a project, then in that case the PMP certification is apt. Yes, there are few parameters, we will see that. Otherwise, PMP certification is the basic one. That is how it was. I mean, if you look at till up to 2010, yes, the PMP, even the PMP certification, that needs to be clarity on scope, budget, and the schedule as well. There need to be a project manager who has to manage the project. So that was there, and till that time there was reference about the spiral model of project execution, but Agile was not that much used. And then came the Agile framework. Agile framework is something like, I'm not going into the detail, but it will be a short sprint wherein there is going to be development is going to happen in a short sprint of 21 to 30 days. The release happens, multiple release happens, features are going to be built in that sprint and released, and then from the product backlog they keep adding to the next sprint. So this was common in this gained popularity post 2010 with the introduction of smartphone, because if you look at the smartphone life cycle, it is just maybe 3-4 years. That's a generic statement, 3-4 years. You can keep it for a longer time, but generally it's just 3-4 years. So, and time bound releases needs to happen, maybe on the software side or even the product as such. You need to keep releasing the new product. So smartphone is an ideal example, or the laptop as well. So that gained, I mean, Agile is better for any of the kind of a product development, then the Agile framework is the better one. Agile or Scrum certification, because instead of a project manager, you have a project facilitator. So that is what has happened. So you have the entire team has the complete domain knowledge of what is being built. So they can interchange among themselves because based on the task which is being assigned to them. So that's about the agile model, and it is 2010. So that is where the agile certification gained significant. Otherwise, earlier it was PMP certification or Prince certification, and then came the agile based certification, and as well as the Scrum certification as well. And now, now you keep hearing about DevOps. DevOps allow agile development to continuous integration and continuous delivery. And again, this gained significance post 2010 with the introduction of cloud platform. So it's kind of a agile methodology. There's DevOps with continuous integration and continuous development. So it all depends on where the project fits in. So you can't generalize. I mean, traditional model is an old approach, so we want to go into the new approach. No, if you take that, you could be in a trouble. So depends on what is that you are going to implement, or what is that you are going to build the product, or so all this you need to do the teams, the stakeholders need to do this homework before jumping into any kind of a conclusion. If you are not doing the homework, and if you're going to adopt some project management methodology just that it has gained popularity, you are inviting trouble during the project execution. That is what is my thought. Because I've seen it over the years, that is what happens. People just jump into the agile type of project management methodology without completely understanding it, and then they face serious challenges as well as they execute the project. So how do we go about doing this? Which project methodology? This is again the generic one. This is what I felt. Yeah, you could add few more points as well, which you feel is right. So ask these questions. Maybe you can have more questions also. Ask questions and then try to find out which one suits. So as far as I'm concerned, so ask this one: who is the customer for the project? Is it in-house or product development? Then yes, go for Agile, Scrum, DevOps, particularly if it is something like a cloud-based solution. Then you could go for Agile, Scrum, or DevOps type of thing. Otherwise, yeah, the external implementation with vendor customer, vendor as a company, customer as a company in a legal framework, then the traditional model will be better compared to the traditional model, in the sense like the waterfall model. You provide solid scope which the customer need to provide, and based on the scope you then get into the providing the code, and then of course you do follow up all the documentation, functional requirement, technical requirement, all these needs to be provided and documented, so that because anything which goes wrong, then yes, it all depends on the documentation you have provided, and there is appropriate change management board as well whenever the request changes, because that is also needs to be costed. So in that case, yes, the traditional model will work better. And then comes, that is what, the scope and clarity is better, then go for the traditional one instead of trying to just get into the agile one. So if the scope and budget is very fluid, it all depends, it's all kind of a market driven, we will be changing the scope as required based on the business, then yes, it's better to go to the agile type of Scrum type of work, project work. But still, I mean, if you are, this again from the financial angle, if you still want to try Agile or Scrum, then the better opt for a time and material project basis rather than a FP project. So if you're choosing the FP project without good clarity on scope and budget and trying to get into Agile, probably yes, you could be inviting trouble. So you need to, I mean, as a project manager, you should tread cautiously. I mean, you have to distinguish or between a kind of a sales team and the project team. So sales team are driven by sales number. Project team, yes, the success of the project team or the success of the project itself, the project manager has to have a complete control of the project. So in that case, ask these questions. And similarly, if you are going to get into a certification, think where you are, whether you are in the consulting side or are you on a kind of a product development. Yes, you are already in product development. Yes, go for Agile Scrum certification. So I hope you found this presentation useful. Do post your comments and subscribe to my channel. Thank you and have a good day.